You left out Wayne Gretzky also in
I left
your
out a lot.
recap.
Yes.
But you're right. He really covered the waterfront with this. Everything from Ukraine, NATO spending. He set a new bar for what he thinks NATO members should be spending, 5%. So there is a lot to digest. And certainly he is escalating his rhetoric on the Panama Canal and on Greenland. And the most striking thing, perhaps, to me is that at the start of this discussion, we saw a fairly big announcement. This is the promise of an investment of up to $20 billion here in the U.S.
Is this the news for the Bloomberg audience, Mike?
Well, this is just the tip of the iceberg, really, for the Bloomberg audience. But it is something certainly that the tech industry, which has really tried to approximate itself and get closer to Trump and the incoming administration, it's very much something that they want to hear.
Yeah, absolutely. He referred to the need for power, for electric power, to run our data centers, and was playing that against what he called Joe Biden's preference for electric heat that kind of got us off the track. But is this the president that will help to fulfill the demand for power for these data centers?
Well, he wants everyone to think that for sure. It is important to note that the Biden administration has also been making this a part of its push during the final months of Joe Biden's presidency to make sure that the needs for artificial intelligence, which are pretty substantial, they need the data centers to be able to execute and build those large language models, to be able to do all the calculations necessary. And those data centers cannot function without a lot of power. So that means utility expansion. It means an upgrade of the electrical grid. All of this costs money. And so the question is, where does that come from? President Donald Trump is promising one thing that Joe Biden also is promising, and that is some help with permitting. Now, the Biden team has looked at permitting reform and trying to do things that would accelerate the process. Trump is promising to anyone who plans to invest $1 billion or more, basically clearing all of the hurdles in the regulatory path to get those projects online.
Really fascinating that we have this element today from Donald Trump just hours after Jensen Huang's keynote address at the Consumer Electronics Show. Shares of NVIDIA hitting an all-time high today. And Donald Trump is in many ways, while we covered the waterfront, to your point, speaking to some pretty important news at hand.
No, absolutely. And it is interesting also to see the coincidence of Jensen Huang speaking at CES yesterday, and then with Bloomberg Technology with our colleague Ed Ludlow earlier today about the company's plans. And NVIDIA is the most valuable company in the S&P 500 right now, thanks to the artificial intelligence revolution and its contributions through these computer processors that are needed to perform all the calculations for AI.